Chapter 21 Tai Chi Sword Technique. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Li Taihang waited until Xianghua left before going outside, and saw a messy table with only some bones left on it. Also, Xianghua was obviously a little dissatisfied, thinking that Li Taihang didn't prepare wine for her, and she was somewhat dissatisfied. She actually left him a note, saying that she would prepare some wine next time. Damn, my master seems to have nothing but his figure and status. Li Taihang felt that it was too miserable for him to encounter such a master who pitted his apprentice on his road to cultivation. However, Xianghua left, he still had to clean up the things on the scene. Then, Li Taihang felt a gust of wind blowing, which was a little cool. He looked at the wall he had built, but the result made him open his eyes wide, a little unbelievable. No, where is my wall? Li Taihang found that the wall he had built with sandalwood and worked so hard was gone. Wow, no way, was it robbed? Li Taihang was convinced, they are so poor on the mountain, and they still come to steal their things. They really have no conscience. Is it possible that this was done by my master? In his opinion, these sandalwoods are gone, and there is really no one else except his master, but he doesn't know how his master did it. Seeing this, Li Taihang didn't plan to build it anymore, not to mention that he didn't like the style of a cottage. He thought about it and decided to leave it alone. Anyway, there is a place to shelter from the wind and rain. Today is just nothing to do, so he plans to explore this mountain. By the way, see if the whole mountain can be transformed, otherwise, it looks uncomfortable to be so bare. Compared with other peaks, this side is obviously particularly desolate. So, Li Taihang began to explore the mountain, and suddenly, he found that there was a cave halfway up the mountain. He walked towards the cave. The further he walked into the cave, the darker the light inside. However, the cave soon reached the bottom, and there seemed to be nothing inside except a stone bed. If this place is renovated, it will be a terrible place to live. Li Taihang thought. Then, the cave was renovated, and soon it became a suitable place to live. But soon, Li Taihang felt bored. What should I do? I thought I had a good master and someone would teach me, but in the end, there was nothing. Li Taihang sat on the stone bed inside. System, do something to make me stronger. However, the system was very quiet and did not answer at all. Li Taihang shook his head and simply continued to wander around the mountain, familiarizing himself with the terrain while looking for any rare things, and then put them into the dimensional space. As a result, there was nothing rare. The entire Taihang mountain was almost desolate, and there was almost nothing to see. At least, Li Taihang had almost wandered around the entire Taihang mountain, but still found nothing. At this time, Li Taihang also heard some movement. When he looked back, he saw Xianghua suddenly appeared behind him, which scared him. Master, why are you here? Xianghua was a little embarrassed and said, I suddenly remembered that it's not good to leave you alone on the mountain. I have to give you something to do. After that, he asked Li Taihang. What kind of weapon do you like to practice? Li Taihang thought for a while and said, sword. Okay. Xianghua threw down a sword manual and said, this is the sword manual. You can take it to study. Then, Xianghua flew away. After Xianghua left, Li Taihang was left with a confused face. Li Taihang picked up the sword manual, which said Taihua sword manual. By the way, master, please leave me a sword. How can I practice without a sword? Li Taihang was so sad that he could only hold back his tears and make a wooden sword himself to temporarily replace it. Then, he looked at the Taihua sword manual and frowned. This is a secret book for practicing ordinary swordsmanship. Li Taihang smiled bitterly and shook his head. He thought it was very profound. As a result, it was actually practiced by folk martial artists. However, when Li Taihang touched it, he suddenly heard the system prompt sound, detected the skill, Taihua sword manual, opened the 10 billion times training increase. Ding! Congratulations on mastering the Taihua sword manual. The system automatically corrected it and upgraded the skill to Taiji sword manual and reached the point of returning to the original. Ding! Congratulations on practicing the first skill and gaining telekinesis. The sudden prompt sound instantly confused Li Taihang. System, what's going on? Li Taihang suddenly didn't understand this system. He didn't know why it suddenly appeared again, and it also brought him these benefits. Unfortunately, the system didn't have any reply. Wait, I always thought that this system existed only in the dimensional space bag, but now it seems that this is not the case. It seems that I have to learn more about this system in the future. Li Taihang suddenly felt that this system could not be as simple as it seemed. Li Taihang took the opportunity to recall the Tai Chi sword technique. This sword technique is very special. Other sword techniques focus on attack, but this Tai Chi sword technique can attack when advancing, defend when retreating, and can also play an auxiliary role. This swordsmanship is good, Li Taixing thought. A wooden sword appeared in his hand, and he slashed at the rock not far away. Call out. An extremely domineering force directly split the boulder in front of him into two pieces. During the whole process, Li Taixing acted very casually. So strong. This stone is so big, it can be chopped into pieces with just one sword. However, I am very doubtful about my strength now. I have not yet entered the body refining realm, so why am I so strong? System, do you want to give me a prompt or a property panel or something? Just as he was talking, an attribute panel immediately appeared in front of Li Taixing. Host, Li Taihang, sex, male, age, 18. Realm, martial arts Grand Master realm, identity, disciple of the 5th elder of Xiantian sect, skills, Tai Chi swordsmanship. Holy shit, martial arts Grandmaster realm? No wonder I think I'm very powerful. It turns out that the system classified my realm into the realm of martial arts, not the realm of immortality. But, now that I am cultivating, which realm of cultivation is equivalent to my current state? Unfortunately, the system did not answer, but it also made Li Taixing understand a situation. As expected, the 6th system, the system, really had to discover its functions on his own. Otherwise, there might be hidden functions that he didn't know about. Grandmaster of Martial Arts. It seems that if you have the opportunity, you have to test your own strength. Only by comparison can you know how strong you are. As for why he suddenly reached this state, Li Taihang came to 3 conclusions through his analysis. The first is the bone-forging pill, the second is the ordinary spirit stone, and the third is the achievement of the technique. These 3, plus the help of the system, have brought Li Taihang to his current state. Chapter 22 No Boundary Limits. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Li Taihang was quite helpless as he watched himself become a martial arts master inexplicably. He came here to cultivate immortality, but before he could even walk the path to immortality, he had already become a martial arts master. According to his memory, the martial arts master was the limit of martial arts, and there was also a rumor that there was a martial arts saint. However, whether it was a martial arts master or a martial arts saint, they were all ordinary powers. They would eventually die due to age, while the cultivators would extend their lifespans and maintain their appearance by breaking through the realm. Moreover, the martial arts saint was the limit, while the cultivation of immortality had no limit. Li Taihang knew very well that he still had to walk the path of cultivating immortality. Out of boredom, he performed Tai Chi swordsmanship on the mountain, because there was nothing around, and he didn't have to worry about causing damage or anything. Xianghua, who was observing Li Taihang in the dark, was stunned by Li Taihang's operation at this time. What kind of monster is this kid? Xianghua only saw Li Taihang flipping through the Taihua sword manual and then entered a state of enlightenment. Later, he not only learned the Taihua sword manual, but also transformed it into another sword technique. Although she had never seen this sword technique, when Li Taihang performed it, she could see that it was not simple. It can attack and defend. This is a rare sword technique that is rarely seen. Could it be that my apprentice originally knew it? Or did he really create it after reading the Taihua sword manual? Xianghua was very puzzled. It seems that I chose the right disciple. As for what secrets Li Taihang had, she was too lazy to care so much. The reason why she chose Li Taihang was that the sect always urged her to accept disciples. If she could not choose a suitable disciple from the outer disciples this time, then, she would lose Chifeng Mountain and the status of the 5th elder forever, and would be directly demoted to the ancestral tomb to be a gravekeeper. Second, she thought Li Taihang was interesting, so she simply accepted him. In short, it was just what she liked. Moreover, according to her observation, this disciple has no worries about food and clothing, and seems to be quite rich, thinking that this disciple is so rich, at least her master will be rich in the future, right? As for whether Li Taihang is a waste, that is not within her reference, and she doesn't care, because she herself is a waste. It seems reasonable to accept a waste disciple. As a result, she didn't expect Li Taihang to give her a lot of surprises, which still made her incomprehensible. For example, Li Taihang has not yet entered the qi gathering realm, and has not even entered the body refining realm, but he can already devour a lot of spirit stones. For example, she has investigated Li Taihang's background and found that he is the young master of a bun shop in Luoyue town. Although he has become a chain store and made a lot of money, his money is definitely not as much as he has spent recently. For example, this kid obviously has no foundation, but his physical fitness has changed amazingly, etc. Wang Xuanwu feels that there are many secrets hidden in Li Taihang, which also arouses her curiosity. However, curiosity is curiosity. Wang Xuanwu does not intend to find out Li Taihang's secrets. Now that Li Taihang has become her disciple, she must find a way to make Li Taihang achieve a good result in 3 months. At the worst, he must enter the body refining realm, because in 3 months, not only the outer sect will have to conduct the assessment of the entry-level disciples, but their inner sect disciples will also have to undergo the strength test on this day. Zhao Wentian asked her to train Li Taihang, otherwise, she would still have to be a gravekeeper. However, the only difference is that if she fails this time, at least she will bring a disciple with her. This Tai Chi swordsmanship is good, but it doesn't seem to suit me. Li Taihang shook his head, because it is difficult to exert Li Taihang's strength. In general, it is more suitable for women or those with weaker strength. At this time, Wang Xuanwu appeared again. She came to Li Taihang, looked at Li Taihang, and said, "Taihang, it's pretty good." "Master." Li Taihang was startled by Wang Xuanwu's elusiveness again. "Well, it looks like you have learned the Taihua sword manual." "Yes." "Okay, show me how it works." "Okay." The Taihua sword manual is quite different from Tai Chi swordsmanship. It is very aggressive, but if it encounters Tai Chi swordsmanship, the swordsmanship in the Taihua sword manual is no match for it. After Wang Xuanwu saw Li Taihang perform the sword technique in the Taihua sword manual, he was surprised and asked, "Have you learned this sword technique before?" "No." "From your appearance, you are much stronger than those warriors who have practiced for decades." "Master, you are too kind." "Okay, don't go through all the red tape in front of me, I don't like this here." "By the way, is there wine and meat?" "Yes, but they are all some ordinary wine and meat." "Master, do you want to eat?" "Of course." "Okay, then I will go back and prepare it for you." "Yes." Wang Xuanwu suddenly thought that Li Taihang's talent was different from others, and thought of a spell, so he said, "Do you want to learn to fly with a sword?" "Can I?" "Well, strictly speaking, it can only be learned by the Jindan realm, but you can try it." Wang Xuanwu thought of Li Taihang swallowing ordinary spirit stones. "So, I wanted to see if there would be any restrictions on Li Taihang's learning of the exercises. For example, flying with a sword, this Jindan realm can do it. If it is not the Jindan realm, as long as it is a flying magic weapon, it can be achieved by reaching the Juki realm." "Then master, I want to try it." Seeing this, Wang Xuanwu nodded and said, "Okay, no problem. By the way, do you have any wine?" "Yes." Li Taihang waved his hand, and various different kinds of wine floated in front of Wang Xuanwu. Wang Xuanwu's beautiful eyes suddenly became like a demon, full of greed. "Wow, good disciple, so much wine. Then you can try it." Wang Xuanwu took away the wine that Li Taihang had put out, and told Li Taihang the formula for practicing flying with a sword, and Li Taihang began to practice according to the formula. Ding! Detected that the host practiced flying with a sword, and activated the 10 billion times amplification effect. Ding! Congratulations to the host for learning to fly in the air. Ha! Mutated again. Not flying on a sword, Li Taihang thought about it. Now he had no sword, and only a wooden sword in his hand, so, he used his telekinesis to levitate the wooden sword, and he jumped lightly, stepped on the wooden sword, and suddenly, the wooden sword carried him and flew up together. Puff. After seeing this scene, Wang Xuanwu spit out the wine he had just drunk. I just said it casually, how did you learn it? Chapter 23, Master is a foodie. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After flying for a while, Li Taihang landed. He was also a little confused. He didn't expect that learning to fly a sword would be so easy. However, the flight just now made him a little tired. Is it the effect of a billionfold amplification? Yes, everything the host learns will be a billionfold amplification, but not all learning is worthy of a billionfold amplification. At this time, the voice of the system sounded, which surprised Li Taihang. System, you are really good. But the system's words gave Li Taihang a surprise. He knew that whatever he was going to learn next would be easy. In this way, even if my talent is too rubbish, I can use the system to make up for it. Host, your talent is not rubbish. It is precisely because you have no attributes that you are not subject to any restrictions. If you are a host with attributes, you must learn things with corresponding attributes to achieve the amplification effect. So, you are a sea that accepts all rivers and is tolerant. Why does this sound weird? Li Taihang was a little speechless. The system stopped talking. Xiao Xingxing, what's wrong with you? At this time, Wang Xuanwu saw that Li Taihang had been silent and seemed to be in a daze, so he walked to his side and waved. Li Taihang subconsciously grabbed the hand he was looking at and immediately felt a soft and tender touch, which was so nice to touch that he was reluctant to let go, but when he came to his senses, he was startled and quickly let go of his hand, saying, Master, Master. Sorry, I didn't mean it. Okay, you already grabbed my hand, and look at you, and you rubbed it. Isn't it nice to touch? Wang Xuanwu looked at Li Taihang with a smirk on his face, and his long eyelashes trembled, which made Li Taihang a little unbearable. Speaking of which, although Li Taihang is only 18 years old now, as a time traveler, he is already a middle-aged uncle after adding up the ages of 2 lives. Facing Wang Xuanwu's teasing, Li Taihang tried to calm down, but his face felt hot. He quickly changed the subject and said, Master, drinking is boring. How about some meat? That when Wang Xuanwu heard that there was food, her beautiful eyes immediately shone brightly. She stared at Li Taihang and moved closer. She nodded desperately and said, yeah. Li Taihang quickly avoided Wang Xuanwu, feeling that she was too close. Moreover, she exuded a pleasant fragrance. This woman exuded an alluring light all over her body. However, she seemed to know nothing about all this. Suddenly, Li Taihang thought of a word, big breasts and no brains. Ahem. Feeling that his thoughts about his master were a bit dirty, he quickly asked, Master, what kind of meat do you want to eat? I want to eat mutton. Do you have it? Yes. Okay, roast a whole lamb for me. Wang Xuanwu said as she walked towards the top of the mountain. Li Taihang widened his eyes, a little unbelievable. Speaking of which, Wang Xuanwu is a foodie, but Li Taihang has carried her on his back and touched her indirectly, and feels that this master is very attractive, but not fat. Master, do you know Samadhi true fire or something like that? Li Taihang hurriedly chased after him. Wang Xuanwu rolled her eyes at her and said, Do you think I'm an immortal? That's something that immortals play with. At most, we can only control some fire techniques, but you don't have a fire spirit root, so you can't learn it even if you learn it. Wang Xuanwu took the opportunity to popularize some basic knowledge to Li Taihang. For example, in the eyes of the immortals in this world, people with certain attributes can only practice the skills of certain attributes, and people without attributes can only practice the skills without attributes. Because of this, Wang Xuanwu felt that Li Taihang could not learn the skills of fire attributes. Of course, if Li Taihang becomes an immortal, that would be another matter. When he has immortal power, he can ignore the rules of attributes and practice other skills, but there are also risks, such as poor results or easy to go crazy. Li Taihang listened to what Wang Xuanwu said, and the two walked and walked until they reached the top of the mountain. Li Taihang suddenly thought of the sandalwood that was pulled away, and asked, Master, have you seen the fence I made? Wang Xuanwu's beautiful big eyes turned, and said, "Disciple, you can roast the whole lamb there, and I will prepare something for you first." After that, he ran away. It's confirmed. Looking at the master's appearance, it must be her who did it. Li Taihang is not a fool, however. Li Taihang did not expose her, but walked to the place pointed by Wang Xuanwu, came to a leeward place, and began to release the firewood in the dimensional space, the table, tools, and lamb for processing lamb, etc. After preparation, set it up and started roasting. Wang Xuanwu was in her room, and several exercises appeared in her hands, namely shrinking steps into inches, light wind brushing dust, and 7 injury fist. These exercises were exchanged for her selling sandalwood, otherwise, she really couldn't get Li Taihang a suitable exercise to practice. This disciple is so powerful, I guess he will have no problem practicing these. After thinking it over, Wang Xuanwu planned to teach these skills to Li Taihang to practice. Through the window, Wang Xuanwu saw that Li Taihang had already set up the rack and was roasting a whole lamb. The wood used for the barbecue was of the best quality, specially used for barbecue. Wang Xuanwu felt that Li Taihang was too extravagant. This kid's family isn't that rich, but why does he act like a nouveau riche? Wang Xuanwu felt that Li Taihang was hiding something very deep, and there must be some unknown secrets on him, but thinking that Li Taihang was his long-term meal ticket, he had no interest in exploring Li Taihang's secrets. No, our disciple is very precious, and we must not let others find him. If he is snatched away, I think it will be difficult to find another good disciple. Wang Xuanwu thought for a while and said, "Go down the mountain tomorrow and find a few folk exercises." If other elders knew that Wang Xuanwu had been using folk exercises to teach his disciples to practice, I wonder if they would be stunned, but if Zhao Wentian knew, he would definitely chop Wang Xuanwu. Master, good. After an unknown amount of time, Li Taihang was finally roasted, and he shouted loudly. When Wang Xuanwu heard that there was food, he quickly slipped out, at the speed of light. Before Li Taihang finished speaking, she had already arrived. Li Taihang was also dumbfounded and said one word involuntarily. Chapter 24, Learning New Kung Fu. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The next morning, Wang Xuanwu took several thousand spirit stones from Li Taihang and threw 3 exercises to him. They were shrinking steps into inches, light wind whisks dust, and 7 injury fist, and then left. Don't worry, disciple, I'll buy you something good. Li Taihang looked at the 3 exercises in his hand, thinking about what Wang Xuanwu said before leaving, and Li Taihang said in his heart, "MMP, I don't trust you, except for cheating him, it seems that's all. System, I want to learn these 3 exercises." Exercises detected, shrinking steps into inches, light wind whisks dust, 7 injury fist, open 10 billion times training amplification. Ding! Shrinking steps into inches is transformed into teleportation ability, which can be instantly moved to any location and ignore the laws of space. The specific distance depends on the host's strength. Ding! Light wind whisks dust does not meet the requirements and is automatically eliminated. The host has mastered the ability to fly in the air and does not need this exercise. Ding! 7 injury fist increases the damage effect. 1 punch has 7 hits, each hit will be superimposed with the previous hit's damage, and the defense is ignored. Listening to the system's voice, Li Taihang also learned these skills, and at the same time, he found that his own strength has increased a lot. However, it's just a feeling. As for how strong he is now, Li Taihang himself is not very clear. System, open the attribute panel. After Li Taihang finished speaking, a transparent screen appeared in front of him, with lines of information on it. Host, Li Taihang, gender, male, age, 18. Realm, Grandmaster of Martial Arts. Identity, disciple of the 5th Elder of Shantian Sect. Skills, Tai Chi Swordsmanship, 7 injury fist. Special abilities, telekinesis, flying in the air, teleport. Other information, spiritual roots, no attributes, host cultivation, ignoring any attribute restrictions. Grade, 1st grade, can take the spiritual pill to improve. Evaluation, with the help of the system, even a waste can become a son of the plane. This time, Li Taihang found that the display of some information has also changed, especially the part of other information. Cultivation ignores any attribute restrictions, and other people's spiritual roots cannot be improved, but he can actually improve them by taking the spiritual cultivation pill. The final evaluation was originally garbage, but now it is named by the system, which makes Li Taihang laugh and cry. However, the current strength is considered to be improved, but I don't know how strong it is. Li Taihang thought about it, and there was nothing to do on the mountain now, so he simply went to the outer gate. When he came to the outer gate, it was the morning shift, and Lu Tong and Sun Bohu were both doing tasks at this time. Li Taihang came to the mission hall and saw Li Bingchang, and asked about the whereabouts of Lu Tong and Sun Bohu. Li Bingchang was very surprised when he saw Li Taihang. However, before Li Bingchang had time to speak, Kai Tongsheng, who was standing next to him, mocked him directly. "Hey, Li Taihang, your poor master kicked you off the mountain. He asked you to come to my outer sect to do a mission." "Deacon Li, I want to know about Lu Tong and Sun Bohu's missions. I want to find them." Li Taihang did not pay attention to Kai Tongsheng. This guy made him feel greasy and disgusting, and he was sarcastic. The more he paid attention to him, the more he would be taken seriously. "Let me see," Li Bingzhang said, and he started to check, but at this time, Kai Tongsheng saw that Li Taihang ignored him, and he was a little angry. He stretched out his fat hand and slapped the mission record book that Li Bingzhang was flipping through, pressing down the papers and preventing Li Bingzhang from flipping through them. "Deacon Kai, what are you doing?" Li Bingzhang's face was a little bad. This relative, relying on the protection of Kai Yin, the fifth elder of the outer sect, usually bullied him a lot, and he was lazy and did not do anything. So many things were done by Li Bingzhang, and he, who was too idle to do anything, would just pick up girls, sleep, rest, or occasionally see someone and make a mockery of them, and he particularly liked to bully others. Before, Li Taihang had not caused much hostility from him, but this time, Li Taihang felt a little puzzled. "Deacon Li, if you dare to tell him about it, I will let my uncle deal with you." Kai Tongsheng's little eyes were full of calculations and warnings. Li Bingzhang's face twitched, and he was even a little angry, but he finally compromised, sighed, and said, "Sorry, Li Taihang, I can't help you." "It's okay." Li Taihang stared at Kai Tongsheng, thinking, this guy is a typical trouble. "What are you looking at? If you look at me again, I will dig out your eyes." "Deacon Kai, don't go too far. As a deacon, are you so arrogant? Or do you look down on me?" "That's right. In your eyes, I am a waste, and you look down on my master, right?" Li Taihang can't deal with Kai Tongsheng now, because the laws of the sect exist. If he attacks Kai Tongsheng, it means he is disrespectful to his elders, and the consequences will be serious. However, Li Taihang now has a master. "Master, you eat my food, drink my food, and use my things every day. This time, don't blame me for using you as a shield." Li Taihang said in his heart. At this time, Wang Xuanwu, who was drinking in the town, sneezed suddenly. "Hey, who scolded me? It must be that old immortal senior brother." Xiantian sect leader Zhao Wentian suddenly sneezed and said strangely, "My health has always been good, what happened today? Am I sick?" At this time, in the mission hall, when Kai Tongsheng heard what Li Taihang said, he was stunned at first. Then, he stood up and pointed at Li Taihang, his whole face flushed. "If you point again, I will let my master deal with you," Li Taihang said with a sly smile. "Okay, you are awesome." Kai Tongsheng shuddered when he thought of Wang Xuanwu, a ruthless woman who dared to pull even the sect master. If he was to settle accounts with him, his uncle Kai Yin would probably have to hide in the corner and tremble. However, Li Taihang was not relieved when he saw this, and said, "Do you think this matter is over?" What else do you want to do?" Kai Tongsheng regretted it a little. If he had known, he would not have said it. "Stand up," Li Taihang suddenly said with a gloomy face. Kai Tongsheng was startled and stood up immediately. When Li Bingzhang next to him saw this, he felt relieved and thought to himself, "You fat guy, you have come to this day? You, Li Taihang, don't go too far. Kai Tongxing's face was as red as pig liver, and he looked very angry. Li Taihang ignored him, but pointed at Kai Tongxing and said, Deacon Kai, listen to me, in the future, when Lu Tong, Sun Bohu, Lu Qinyao, Li Yuanyang, Xionghu, Xiong'er, and Xiongsan come here, you must be more polite, otherwise, I will let my master go to your uncle at any time. When Kai Tongxing heard this, he immediately broke out in a cold sweat. If Wang Xuanwu was allowed to go to his uncle, Kai Tongxing would probably be beaten by his uncle the next day, so badly that his parents would not recognize him. Yes, brotherly, do you think this is okay? Kai Tongxing was almost crying without tears, and he was no longer as arrogant as before. Chapter 25 Encountering a Bad Boy. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Seeing that Kai Tongxing had a good attitude towards pleading guilty, Li Taihang stopped embarrassing him and just warned, if my brother is embarrassed by you and you let me know about it, you will know the consequences. Li Taixing stared at Kai Tongxing fiercely. Kai Tongxing trembled, nodded quickly, and said, I understand, brotherly, don't worry, I know what to do. Ah, that's good. Li Taihang felt that it was good to have a master, especially when the master was Wang Xuanwu. Li Taihang looked at Captain Li. This time, Captain Li glanced at Kai Tongxing and saw that he acted as if he hadn't seen him. He ignored Kai Tongxing and directly helped Li Taihang to investigate and reported the found tasks to Li Taihang. After Li Taihang learned about the mission content of Lu Tong and Sun Bohu, he thanked Captain Li and then decided to go to the mission site to find Lu Tong and Sun Bohu. After Li Taixing left the mission pavilion, he headed towards the place where he was doing the mission. This time, Lu Tong and Sun Bohu were tasked with chopping firewood. At this time, the back mountain, the two chopped a pile of firewood and were about to pack it up. At this time, several entry-level disciples who were also doing the task walked towards them. Hey, you two, wait a minute. Lu Tong and Sun Bohu stopped what they were doing and looked at the few entry-level disciples approaching. They are clearly not good people. You two put your things down so that we can leave. The leading disciple pointed at Lu Tong and Sun Bohu. Why? Sun Bohu said angrily. Lu Tong's face was also a little ugly, but they had worked hard to save this. He knew that these guys were here to steal the firewood they chopped. Stop fucking talking nonsense. If you don't get out, I'll beat you up. As he said that, several people next to this entry-level disciple came over with ill intentions and surrounded them. Now, I give you two choices. 1. Hand over all the firewood and help us continue to chop our share. 2. Get beaten by us and then lie here and wait for others to collect your bodies. Make a good choice, don't blame me for not giving you a way to survive. After he finished speaking, several other entry-level disciples immediately rolled up their sleeves and stared at them with sinister smiles on their faces. Sun Bohu frowned. There were 4 or 5 people on the other side, but there were only 2 of them. In this fight, it would be troublesome if they lost. Then, Sun Bohu quietly said to Lu Tong, I will cover you later, and you run back. Sun Bohu couldn't just give in, he was going to fight them. However, he was afraid that something would happen to Lu Tong, so he planned to let Lu Tong leave first, but Lu Tong stretched out his hand, put it on Sun Bohu's shoulder, and said, What are you afraid of? We are brothers, we share blessings and share hardships. Don't worry, if they dare to touch our things, we will fight with them. Hee hee. Sun Bohu giggled and said, That's good. When the disciple saw this, his face suddenly darkened. Damn it, you are so shameless, right? You still dare to resist us? Beat me. Although they did not dare to kill Lu Tong and Sun Bohu, as long as they were not discovered by others, it would be no problem to maim them both. Yes. After receiving the order from the leading disciple, several other people also took action without hesitation and rushed towards Lu Tong and Sun Bohu. Boy, let me make you arrogant. After these entry-level disciples rush over, they will be beaten. Sun Bohu roared and said, I will fight with you. Then, Sun Bohu picked up a piece of firewood next to him, used it as a weapon, and directly greeted the incoming disciples who were rushing towards them. Boom! Ah! A scream sounded out, which also aroused Lu Tong's ferocity. "I'll fight with you too." Lu Tong also picked up a piece of firewood and rushed towards them. The two of them dealt with 4 or 5 of them, and they were so brave, which actually shocked the other party. Beat! Bang! After a while, the two sides started fighting, but those few people were no match for Lu Tong and Sun Bohu, mainly because they had no weapons in their hands. As a result, Lu Tong and Sun Bohu were beaten so hard that they screamed in pain. "Ouch! It hurts. Do not fight." Several of them fled in embarrassment, and the leader also put down a harsh word and said, "Humph, just wait for me. I will tell our elder brother to bring someone to deal with you." The disciple was so angry that he said these harsh words. When Sun Bohu heard this, he said angrily, "Boy, it's not over yet, is it?" After saying that, Sun Bohu rushed over and chased the disciple, scaring him so much that he turned around and ran away. Seeing this, Sun Bohu directly threw the firewood over. Bang! As a result, it hit his head, causing him to scream in pain. Then, together with the few disciples who were also beaten in pain, they scrambled to escape from here. "Ha ha ha, how dare a few bastards come to fight with me, Mr. Tiger." The two of them were very happy to defeat the 4 or 5 people opposite them. However, Lu Tong knew very well that they had to leave here quickly. It was just that they were ruthless enough and the opponent was unarmed, so they were caught off guard, allowing them to escape in confusion. However, if the other party finds someone again, the situation will be different. "Okay, let's pack up and leave here." Lu Tong said to Sun Bohu, "They don't have that much time, so they have to act quickly." However, they had just packed up the firewood and were about to carry it away when suddenly, a noisy sound of footsteps came from the front. "Where is it? Who dares to hit my people? It's really looking for death." Lu Tong and Sun Bohu looked over the source of the sound and saw a strong boy with a group of boys and girls coming towards them, and these were all disciples. Seeing this scene, Lu Tong frowned and said, "Huzi, it seems that we are going to be in big trouble today." Sun Bohu's mouth twitched. The other side had more than 20 people at once, while they only had 2 people. Although they had firewood as weapons, they had more people, and some of them were holding some sticks in their hands. Obviously, they had to go back lying down this time. "Boss, it's them. They said that even if you come, they will beat you together." Hiss, ouch, it hurts so much. The disciple who had just led people to deal with Lu Tong and the other 2 covered his mouth in pain, but it hurt again, and there were a few unlucky guys around him, who were also groaning at this time, obviously in great pain. "Humph, don't worry, brother, I will help you get rid of this bad breath. Now that these 2 guys have been found, let's cripple them first." Then, the leader waved his hand, and more than 20 disciples rushed towards Lu Tong and Sun Bohu. Lu Tong and Sun Bohu smiled bitterly, and had to put down the firewood, and took out the firewood again, ready to fight with the opposite side. Chapter 26: An Unexpected Discovery. You are listening at novelfull.audio. You two are so bold that you dare to move even Brother Long's brothers. Let's see how we will destroy you today. At this time, Taihang also happened to be on the mountain. Seeing Lu Tong and Sun Bohu in danger, he frowned immediately. Not good, they are in danger. Taihang saw the 2 piles of firewood, and his mind moved, and he immediately had an idea. Activate telekinesis. Under Taihang's control, a piece of firewood suddenly floated up. What's going on? They stopped when they saw this strange scene. What is this? They were all a little puzzled. Lu Tong and Sun Bohu were also confused. Why did the firewood next to them suddenly fly up? Go! Taihang's mind moved, and the firewood shot towards the guys in front like arrows. Ding! Triggering a billionfold amplification, items of the same type within a certain range of amplification can be controlled. Suddenly, other firewood on the ground also flew up and flew towards the target in front. Bang, bang, bang. All of a sudden, they were hit one by one, and all fell to the ground and screamed in pain. Seeing this scene, everyone was stunned. Hurry, run. Seeing such a weird scene, who would dare to stay? Even the few guys who were arrogant just now were scared and ran away. Brother Long ran even faster. He saw someone could control hundreds of firewood to fly. Needless to say, there must be a big guy behind the scenes to help Lu Tong and Sun Bohu. This scared him a lot, and he didn't dare to be arrogant anymore. Brother Long, wait for me. Seeing Brother Long running away, they didn't dare to stay anymore, and hurried to chase him, but on the way, Brother Long ignored them at all, and those disciples who were knocked down also endured the pain and got up and fled down the mountain. At this time, Taihang, who was hiding in the dark, was very shocked. I didn't expect this kind of amplification effect. Originally, Taihang could only control one piece of firewood at most, but because of the 10 billion times amplification, all the firewood flew up. However, Taihang likes this amplification method, especially when he is pretending to be cool. Even Taihang thought about it, put a sword next to him first, and then get a bunch of swords around him. As long as he controls this sword, the other swords will also fly up. Even if the lethality is not very good, it is scary enough. At this time, Lu Tong and Sun Bohu were also shocked. Just now, someone helped us secretly. It should be, otherwise, if he attacks us, our fate will be even worse. Both of them dared not imagine it anymore. They didn't know who secretly shot and saved them, but they were very grateful to each other. Lu Tong, Bohu. Li Taixing came out of his hiding place and suddenly appeared behind the two. After hearing the voice, Lu Tong and Sun Bohu felt that it was very familiar. They turned around and saw that it was Li Taihang. They were immediately excited and rushed to Li Taihang. "Boss, it's you, you're back." "Great, boss, we thought we would never see each other again after you went to the inner gate." Both Lu Tong and Sun Bohu were very happy at this time, and even had an impulse to cry with joy, and Li Taihang also stretched out his hand, patted them both, and said, "You two have been wronged, but I will protect you in the future. Who dares to bully you? Tell me, I will definitely seek justice for you." Li Taihang thought, at worst, he could ask his master to help. Although he didn't spend much time with Wang Xuanwu, Li Taihang could feel that although Wang Xuanwu was lazy and a bastard, he was not irresponsible to his apprentice. "Boss, just now." "Well, I asked my master to help." Li Taihang didn't want them to know that it was him, otherwise, it would be difficult to explain clearly. Therefore, Li Taihang did not hesitate to use Wang Xuanwu as a shield. When they heard that it was Li Taihang's master who helped, they suddenly realized. However, Lu Tong's eyes were a little strange, and he looked around from time to time, but found nothing. "What are you looking for?" Li Taihang asked with some confusion. "Boss, where is your master?" "We have to thank you," Lu Tong said, but Li Taihang did not bring Wang Xuanwu with him. He just came alone, but said, "My master didn't want to come, she left after helping." "That's right, after all, she is an inner sect elder, and we are just two disciples." Sun Bohu felt that if Wang Xuanwu showed up, it would be too high for them. Lu Tong also sighed. "By the way, how is your mission going?" That when it comes to the mission, Sun Bohu gets angry and says, "Damn it, it's all those bastards' fault. We wasted a lot of time. Now it's impossible to complete the mission before training. We can only continue the mission after training." Lu Tong has a headache. "I feel that we are not here to cultivate immortality, but to work for others. If we have the luck of the boss, we don't have to worry so much." Looking at this pair of brothers in distress, Li Taihang laughed and said, "Let me help you. How much do you still need?" "Boss, how can I be so embarrassed?" "It's okay. I'm free anyway." Li Taihang is indeed very free. Wang Xuanwu is an irresponsible master who is also in a free-range state with Li Taihang. However, he will not restrict his freedom. This actually gives Li Taihang a lot of private time. That's great. With the help of the boss, we don't have to worry about not completing the task. Then, they collected all the firewood scattered on the ground again. Li Taihang put them all into his dimensional space bag. In this way, the two of them were spared the pain of running around with these firewood on their backs. Speaking of which, it was really difficult for them. With the help of Li Taihang, they quickly collected enough firewood. Okay, it's done, let's go back. Okay. The three of them went down the mountain happily. On the way, Lu Tong asked Li Taihang about his situation in the inner gate. When they learned that Wang Xuanwu had only one disciple, and he was in charge of a mountain, they were surprised, envious, and admired. "Boss, you are still awesome." Looking at the two men's admiring expressions, Li Taihang couldn't help but feel that being the boss was quite enjoyable. Of course, he didn't tell his two brothers about the bad things that happened on the mountain. "By the way, how are Xianghua, Qin Yao, Yunyang and the others?" "Boss, it's only been a day, and they are just like that, nothing has changed. However, since the boss was taken away, everyone is very worried that they will never see the boss again." "Humph, our boss won't be that ruthless." "Right." Li Taihang thought about it and was about to meet the rest of the people. Suddenly, he found that the Qifeng order on his body was vibrating. Chapter 27 Gifting a Ring. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Go back to Qifeng Mountain quickly. Li Taixing took out the Qifeng order and heard a voice coming from inside. This voice was Wang Xuanwu's voice, and there was a serious tone in the voice. Li Taixing frowned and thought to himself, "Are you angry when you see that I'm not on the mountain?" "Boss, what happened?" Lu Tong also heard the voice coming from the Qifeng order and asked curiously. "My master is looking for me. It seems I have to go back first." Li Taixing sighed. He originally wanted to stay with them for a while, but it seems that he can't. "Well, boss, you go back." "Yes." Sun Bohu also laughed dryly and said, "Boss, you have to work hard." "Okay, then I'll go back and see you next time." "Good." Li Taihang transferred all their firewood into a ring, took out another 6 and gave them to Lu Tong. "Divide these precepts. If there are any problems, tell me then." Li Taixing said. "Boss, what is this?" Lu Tong was very surprised when he saw Neji in his palm. "This is the Neji, one for each of the 7 of you." Li Taixing instructed. "This, boss, is too valuable, we can't have it." Lu Tong was also shocked when he heard that it was Neji. This kind of thing was very rare and expensive. Unexpectedly, Li Taixing took out 7 of them at once, which really frightened them. However, he did not dare to accept them and quickly returned them to Li Taihang. Li Taixing stretched out his hand, closed Lu Tong's hand, pushed it back, and pretended to be angry. "Okay, stop talking nonsense, just take it when I tell you to. Don't you even listen to the boss's order?" "No." Lu Tong shook his head quickly. "No, that's it. I have to go back to Qifeng Mountain first. Let's see you next time." "All right." Seeing Li Taixing walking away, Lu Tong felt helpless and sighed. However, Sun Bohu next to him was full of excitement. He came to Lu Tong's side and said to Lu Tong, "Quick, give me one, I want to use it now." Lu Tong glared at him and said, "Look at your worthless look. Hey." Sun Bohu got the ring and didn't bother to care about what Lu Tong said. Instead, he asked curiously, "This is the first time I've seen this thing. How do you use it?" "It's very simple. You shed blood to identify the owner. From now on, you only need to use your mind to deposit and withdraw. Is it okay to live?" "No, it can only be non-living things. Moreover, the space of the Negia is different in size. The size of your Negia can only hold as many things as you want." "Oh, I understand. With Neji, it will be much easier for them to complete tasks in the future." Lu Tong thought of Li Taihang's generosity and couldn't help but feel guilty. After all, they didn't do anything for Li Taihang, but Li Taihang gave them such a good thing. This made Lu Tong feel even more guilty about Li Taihang. "Let's go and hand in the mission." Lu Tong took out the firewood belonging to Sun Bohu from the Neji, then, he taught Sun Bohu how to use it, put all the firewood into Neji, and then took Sun Bohu to the mission pavilion. In the mission pavilion, Kai Tongxing was lying on his back, a little bored, and kept mumbling something. Captain Li next to him is the one who is never finished. He is currently doing calculations. After all, it was almost noon, and there were still some disciples who had not handed in their tasks. He still has to make these registrations. Just when Kai Tongxing was very bored, he suddenly found two figures appearing at the door in front of him. Kai Tongxing felt that the two figures were somewhat familiar, so he sat up straight and looked at the two people opposite him carefully. When he found out it was Lu Tong and Sun Bohu, he stood up immediately and greeted them with joy on his face. Just now, Kai Tongxing was still thinking about revenge against Li Taihang, so he deliberately spoke ill of Li Taihang to his second uncle, hoping that his second uncle Kai Yin would help him settle accounts with Li Taihang. As a result, he was almost beaten out by his second uncle. He also warned him that if he dared to provoke Li Taihang or bully his brother again, he would take Kai Tongxing to be sterilized. Kai Tongxing was so frightened that he quickly tried to please Li Taihang's brother for the sake of his lower body. You know, Kai Tongxing is not good at cultivation, but he is very lustful. Shout, it's Brother Lu and Brother Sunday. When Kai Tongxing saw the two of them, he quickly left his position and went to greet them. His attitude was very enthusiastic, which completely confused Captain Li. Captain Li stared blankly, then pinched his face again to see if he was hallucinating. Come on, sit here. Kai Tongxing took them both to a seat next to him and quickly served them both tea. Lu Tong and Sun Bohu were also confused by Kai Tongxing's manipulation. Deacon Kai, you are too frustrating for us. No need, no need. Seeing Kai Tongxing's enthusiasm, Lu Tong was almost frightened, thinking that Kai Tongxing was going to do something to them. That's right, no need. Sun Bohu also quickly got up from his position. How dare he accept the tea brought by Kai Tongxing? Both of them were obviously frightened by Kai Tongxing. When Kai Tongxing saw this, he patted his head. He suddenly realized something and said, "Oh, it's true, brothers, you are here to hand in a mission, right?" "Yep." "Good." Kai Tongxing quickly turned around and said to Captain Li, "I helped handle the tasks of these two brothers, and they were all over fulfilled." After listening to this, Captain Li's face was full of black lines. It hasn't even been put into the warehouse yet, so it said that it has exceeded the quota. When the boss checks it and finds out that the quantity is missing, what should you do? However, how could Kai Tongxing think so much? Anyway, according to his second uncle, if he had not satisfied Li Taihang and his partners, he would have dissatisfied him as well. For the sake of his descendants, he had to accept it even if he went up the mountain to cut firewood. Well, Deacon Kai, our task has indeed been completed, and it is still over the quota. I didn't expect Deacon Kai to know so soon. Deacon Kai, you are so awesome. Sun Bohu, who didn't understand why, also flattered him and gave him a thumbs up. Kai Tongxing suddenly felt a little embarrassed. He was just talking nonsense. How could he have thought that these two brothers had really completed their mission? He laughed and said with some embarrassment, "Then, who am I?" Mission Pavilion, the most handsome Deacon Kai. Kai Tongxing was not afraid of disgusting the people around him. He kept boasting and boasting, which made Bing Chongli, Lu Tong and Sun Bohu feel sick. Meet the master. Li Taihang finally returned to Chifeng Mountain. His speed was also very fast along the way. When he came to the mountain, he saw his master chatting with a strange girl. Chapter 28, heading to Xianghua village. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The top of Chifeng Mountain, outside the wooden house, there are two women sitting at a square table, one on the left and one on the right. The one on the left is Li Taihang's master Wang Xuanwu, and the one on the right is a girl in a green skirt who looks to be 13 or 14 years old. The girl seemed to be still crying, telling Wang Xuanwu something. Meet the master. Li Tai walked over and saluted Wang Xuanwu. After Wang Xuanwu saw Li Taihang, he waved and said, "Come on, disciple, come here." "Master, what's wrong?" Li Taixing came to the table. "Sit down." "Good." Li Taixing sat aside and looked at them. Wang Xuanwu stared at Li Taihang and felt that his apprentice had changed too quickly. When he first met him, he was just an ordinary mortal. His current strength is considered to be the top among mortals. This time the evil bandit, just use it as a test for him. This is my disciple, Li Taixing. He is my senior brother in Chifeng Mountain and the strongest disciple. If you have something to do, ask him for help. Wang Xuanwu said, and handed over Li Taixing. Li Taixing's mouth twitched when he heard it, and he always felt like he was about to be betrayed again. Later, Wang Xuanwu introduced the girl in green dress who was crying so hard that she was crying. Her name is Tang Caidi, she comes from Xianghua village, and she came to seek help from her teacher. Master, she asked you for help, why did you ask me to come? Li Taixing was extremely depressed. Ahem, well, my teacher thinks that you can solve this problem, so I plan to leave this matter to you. Besides, for such a big mountain sect, we need someone to be in charge, right? Wang Xuanwu talks big words without blushing at all. He is still sitting in command. It is estimated that the mountain is gone and you will not come back. After Li Taixing heard what she said, his face felt hot. He always felt that his master was so shameless. What a lie. Master, what is going on? Li Taixing was a little curious, but it was definitely not an easy matter to make Tang Caidi cry. Well, it's like this. A group of vicious bandits appeared near Xianghua village, and they often robbed homes. Recently, Tang Caidi's father and some villagers were also captured by them and have not returned yet. She wanted to ask us to rescue her father and other villagers. Ah, you are asking the government for this matter, why are you asking us? Li Taixing said speechlessly, and poured himself another bowl of water. No. Why not? The government can't defeat them. Pfft. Li Taixing was about to spit out the water he had just drank. Then, he looked at Wang Xuanwu with a look of disbelief on his face and said, Master, even the government can't do it, how can I do it? Wang Xuanwu approached Li Taihang and whispered in his ear, Of course, you are the most bizarre disciple I have ever seen. Your strength cannot be measured simply. It just so happens that I will take this opportunity to test your strength. Li Taixing also quietly replied, Master, I thank you for your praise, but I feel that I am still young and I can still save you for a while. No need, my dear disciple, I will leave this matter to you and we will definitely be able to solve it. After Wang Xuanwu finished speaking, he gave Li Taixing a look that said, My master is very optimistic about you. I'll deal with your sister. Li Taihang almost got violent and asked himself to deal with a group of villains. This simply felt like he died too slowly. Brother Li, please help us. Tang Caidi cried and looked at Li Taihang pitifully. Li Taixing looked pitiful towards her, but this was not the reason for him to be brave. Well, Li Taixing was about to refuse the other party, but before he could finish his words, Wang Xuanwu, who was next to him, pulled Li Taixing aside and said directly to Tang Caidi, Sister Caidi, don't cry anymore, your brother Li will definitely help you. Well, thank you fairy sister. Huh, good girl, I will ask my apprentice to pack his luggage and follow you right away. Fuck. Li Taixing almost fell to the ground. Great. Tang Caidi was extremely happy. Then, Li Taihang was kidnapped by morality and followed Tang Caidi down the mountain inexplicably. Nima, is this really master? He has only been a disciple for 2 days, and he is rushing to send his apprentice to die. Along the way, Li Taixing frantically greeted his master with many words of care in his heart. I think I have to quit Xiantian sect, no, at least I have to quit Chifeng Mountain. Li Taixing felt that he was too miserable. If he continued like this, he had no doubt that he would be played to death. Those are evil bandits. Li Taixing wanted to cry to death, however, with Li Taixing thinking this way, he still followed Tang Caidi to Xianghua village. Brotherly, what's wrong with you? Along the way, Tang Caidi quietly observed Li Taihang and felt that Li Taihang was very different. He was the most handsome man she had ever seen. He was also very elegant and a cultivator of immortality. As she thought about it, her pretty face turned slightly red. He lowered his head, not daring to look at Li Taihang again. However, he couldn't help but look at Li Taixing quietly for a few times, and when he saw Li Taixing's sad face, he couldn't help but ask. Nothing. Li Taixing glanced at her, sighed, and said, Caidi, why is it that the government is no match for those evil bandits? Do you know the reason? New. Oh, tell me. Well, because the place where the evil bandits are hiding is a dangerous place in itself. The government has encircled and suppressed it several times without success, so they had to give up in the end. Are there any immortal cultivators? Well, there shouldn't be any. I haven't heard any rumors about immortal cultivators. It's fine if you don't. Although he is now a martial arts master, he also knows the difference between immortal cultivators and martial arts practitioners. However, Xianghua was right about one thing, that is, this action was indeed a test of Taihang's strength. Damn it, if something bad happens next time, I have to get some good things from Master. Taihang thought to himself, otherwise, I always feel like I'm at a disadvantage. Open the properties panel. Host, Taihang, sex, male, age, 18. Realm, martial arts Grand Master. Realm, identity, disciple of the 5th elder of Xiantian sect. Skills, Tai Chi swordsmanship, 7 injury fist. Special abilities, telekinesis, aerial flight, teleportation. Other information, spiritual root, no attributes, the host practices and ignores any attribute restrictions. Grade, 1st grade, can be improved by taking the spirit pill. Evaluation, with the help of the system, even a waste can become a son of the plane. Although I only have 5 skills now, I can do both offense and defense, and I can also escape. When the time comes, let's reconnoiter the situation first and then take action. Li Taixing would not act recklessly. Since there was no way to change things, he could only bite the bullet and go on. Soon, Li Taihang followed Tang Caidi to Xianghua village. However, when they arrived, they saw that something seemed to have happened in Xianghua village. Chapter 29, Lure with Benefits. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Help! Li Taihang saw a villager suddenly running in front of him. The villager's face was very panicked. He ran towards them, looking back as he ran. At this time, 2 gangsters on horseback ran out of the village. As they chased them, they waved their machetes and shouted loudly, "Run, if you don't run faster, you will be dead." Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. When Tang Caidi saw the villager, she exclaimed, stretched out her hand and pursed her lips and said, "Brotherly, it's a dog. He is in danger." When Li Taixing saw that the machete was about to slash at the villager named Guzi, he immediately used his teleportation ability and came to his side in an instant and took him away. Then, Li Taixing put him aside, looked at the gravel on the road, and activated his telekinesis. Suddenly, a piece of gravel on the ground flew up. Ding. Triggers a multi-billion increase, and items of the same type can be controlled within a certain range of the increase. Suddenly, all the surrounding stones of similar size were suspended. Li Taihang waved his hand and said, "Go." Immediately, the gravel hit the 2 villains who were charging towards them. The 2 villains had no time to react and were suddenly hit by the gravel. Puff puff. Ah! The 2 men fell off their horses and screamed in pain. Li Taixing rushed over and activated his telekinesis at the same time. The sword on the ground flew towards Li Taixing. Li Taixing grabbed it in his hand and slashed at the villain who stood up in pain in front of him. Puff. Ah! The villain screamed and fell down. Damn it, I forgot to ask Master to give me a sword. Li Taixing beheaded the villain who stood up, and then Li Taixing remembered that he didn't have a weapon. The other person had just stood up, but Li Taixing slashed him down with his sword and the other person also fell down. Plop. Li Taixing dealt with the 2 villains smoothly, but Guzi was still frightened, and Tang Caidi also had a pale look on his face. Obviously he was also frightened. Li Taixing glanced at the 2 of them, then looked at Guzi, and asked, "What happened in the village?" "Wu, brother, help the villagers quickly. Those villains are robbing us. Anyone who disobeys will be killed. Ernyang Wang, sister-in-law's son, and my black dog are all dead. Yes, there are others." When Li Taixing heard this, he said, "You guys find a safe place to hide outside." "Okay. Brotherly, you have to be careful." "I see." Li Taihang threw the Xianma Dao into the dimensional bag. Ding. The increase of tens of billions was successful. and the company obtained the beheading knife *10 billion. Then, Li Taihang used his ability to fly in the air and quickly came to the village. He stood on the roof of a house and looked at the villagers in the square in front of him. Finding the villagers trapped in the central square of the village, he hid to avoid being seen by the villains. Damn, it's not easy, we're all trapped. Li Taixing first counted their number. There were 20 people in total, and they were all in the square. After analyzing the situation at the scene, he understood that if he did not want the villagers to be harmed, he could only let the villains and the villagers separate. After all, these villains can do anything, so in this battle, we can only be smart and not reckless. So, Li Taihang took a look at his dimensional bag. The only way to kill them is to get something. Li Taihang's heart moved and he had an idea. He left the roof and walked out into the square. The villains in the square heard the noise and turned around to look over. Who is it? Stop. Li Taixing quickly raised his hand and said, "Hello, brothers, my name is Qian Too Much, and my father Qian is the richest man. This time I passed through Xianghua village and encountered some dangers. Fortunately, Xiao Tang, a villager in Xianghua village, helped me. Therefore, these villagers are kind to me. Look, let these villagers go and I will give you money. How about it?" Upon hearing Li Taihang's words, these villains were immediately stunned. Too much money. My father is the richest man. He has such a name. The gangsters were all very confused. They haven't seen anyone with this name in these 10 miles and 8 villages. Ahem, you don't believe me, but I can prove my financial strength. As he spoke, Li Taixing waved his hand, and piles of copper coins appeared in front of them, at least hundreds of thousands of copper coins. When they saw these copper coins, they all straightened their eyes and swallowed secretly. Good, lots of copper coins. OMG. I've never seen so many copper coins. These villains were swallowing their saliva crazily, with greed in their eyes. Then, I heard Li Taixing politely raise his hands and ask, "Fellow gentlemen, is this copper coin enough for me to buy the lives of the villagers?" "Boss, there are a lot of copper coins here, why don't we also?" Li Taixing also heard what they said and said loudly, "I advise you not to have any wrong ideas. I have asked my servant to wait outside. If he doesn't see me within half an hour, he will go back to report the news. At that time, I will, in order to save me, my father will definitely invite immortal cultivators to deal with you, so don't doubt my father's ability. You have also seen that I can give out hundreds of thousands of copper coins, and my father's wealth is only a lot more. To show that I mean what I say, I can show you something more." As he said that, another pile of spirit stones appeared on the ground in front of Li Taihang. Although there were not many, there were only a few hundred. "This is the spiritual stone, have you seen it?" With the appearance of these spiritual stones, these villains' eyes widened and they could hardly believe their own eyes. You know, the value of spirit stones is many times more valuable than copper coins. Even the copper coins on the ground are not as valuable as one spirit stone. Spirit stone. Oh my God, there are so many, at least hundreds of them. Who is this guy? We are so rich. With all this money, why should we be bad gangsters? We have already gone to enjoy the blessings. Yes. Brother, there's no point in killing these untouchables. Why don't we trade with him? Besides, this guy is so rich, we can invite him to the mountain. What do you think? This guy said please with an accent. They, the villains, all understand. Compared with these poor villagers, they felt that arresting Li Taihang would be many times better than arresting 100 or 1,000 villagers. Seeing their excited expressions, Li Taixing waved his hand, and all the copper coins and spiritual stones on the ground disappeared. What are you doing? Seeing that the copper coins and spiritual stones were gone, these villains suddenly became anxious. But I heard Li Taixing say, "I see that you have been chatting for a long time, but there is no point in it. Anyway, Xiao Tang is not here. If you don't want to talk, I will not talk to you." "Hey, wait, we can talk, we can talk." Seeing that Li Taihang was leaving, these villains suddenly became anxious. Chapter 30 Kill the Evil Bandits. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The bandits are all thinking about Li Taihang's copper coins and spirit stones. In addition, they don't know Li Taihang's identity. Li Taihang just said that his father, Qian Shofu, can invite immortal cultivators. When they saw those spirit stones, they believed it, therefore, they dare not use tough means against Li Taihang now, lest they invite immortal cultivators and usher in a catastrophe. When Li Taihang saw that they were willing to talk, he waved his hand and said, "Okay, how many villagers are there here?" 300, the bandit leader stretched out 3 fingers and said. "Okay, each villager, I will give you 10,000 copper coins, which is 3 million copper coins." When they heard 3 million copper coins, the bandits were all stunned. "But I have another condition." "What condition?" The bandit leader came to his senses. It was right. If there were no conditions, they would not believe that Li Taihang would spend so many copper coins for these lowly people. "Don't harass Xianghua village anymore," that the bandits agreed without even thinking about it. Li Taihang's words also made them believe that Li Taihang was the son of a wealthy family. He probably fell in love with the village girl who saved him, and then saw that the village girl's village was in trouble, so he wanted to settle them with money. "Okay, no problem." The bandit leader agreed without hesitation. As he agreed, the other bandits all stared at Li Taihang. "Look," Li Taihang said, and 3 million copper coins all appeared on the ground. When they saw the pile of copper coins, the bandits were stunned again. Clang! So much so that one bandit couldn't even hold his saber firmly and fell to the ground. Hiss, so many copper coins. "Wow, I'm rich, I'm rich. But, big brother, there are too many copper coins. We may have enough to put them in. Otherwise, let's find some boxes to put them in." "Yes." The bandit leader had never seen so many copper coins before, and he smiled and said, "Brother Qian, you are really domineering. Then we will accept them with pleasure. These villagers will be given to you." After that, they let the villagers go, found a lot of boxes, and then rushed to the pile of copper coins and filled them up frantically. The villagers were dumbfounded, and they didn't know who the Xiao Tang that Li Taihang was talking about was. He actually attracted such a rich young man to save their entire village. Suddenly, their favorability towards Li Taihang soared. "Huh, so much money. Woo, I have never seen so much money in my life." After knowing Li Taihang's background, the bandits did not dare to provoke Li Taihang. Moreover, the bandit leader held the copper coins and smiled at Li Taihang, saying, "Brother, we promise that we will never invade Xianghua village again. If you are free, you can come to our Julong village. We welcome you at any time." "Sure, sure." Li Taihang watched them drop their weapons and put the copper coins in their pockets, and couldn't help but sneer in his heart. Now, his first step of the plan was considered successful. The next step was to kill them all. "Do you really think your money is so easy to get?" "Don't be stupid," Li Taihang asked all the villagers to go back. Through the observation just now, Li Taihang also found that these bandits were just relying on the weapons in their hands to act arrogantly, but now, Li Taihang has found out the details and no villagers are threatened. Li Taihang decided to send these bandits away, but they don't know that their death is approaching. Telekinesis. Li Taihang activated his telekinesis, and suddenly, all the sabers on the ground flew towards Li Taihang. However, these evil bandits were only concerned with grabbing copper coins, so they didn't care about so many things. Ding! Triggering the 10 billion times amplification effect. Suddenly, hundreds of sabers appeared under Li Taihang's feet. These sabers were released directly by Li Taihang after the 10 billion times effect was triggered. Then, these sabers also floated up. When Li Taihang controlled the first one, the other sabers also floated up and made the same action. Go! Li Taihang aimed at the evil bandits who were collecting copper coins, waved his hand, and the hundreds of sabers immediately flew towards the evil bandits. Swish, swish, swish. Ah, be careful. Not good. Help. Ah, at this time, the evil bandits finally found something wrong and all reacted. However, the sabers near them were gone, and some were still confused when facing the flying sabers. Puff. As the first saber pierced their chests, the second and third, and soon, more than a dozen bandits fell under the sabers. The remaining 7 bandits avoided the sabers because they discovered it in time or were lucky. Li Taihang looked at the hundreds of sabers, most of which missed, and shook his head. It seems that I have to continue to strengthen my telekinesis control, that the power of the material controlled by telekinesis depends on Li Taihang's own strength. In other words, the power of the things controlled by Li Taihang depends on what he controls, not those after amplification. Seeing Li Taihang suddenly kill them, the remaining bandits were furious. Boy, you dare to attack us? You are looking for death. These evil bandits were used to being rude, so they were naturally very angry when they were suddenly attacked. However, when they saw Li Taihang controlling the sabers on the ground again, they all broke out in cold sweat. Li Taihang only used his telekinesis to control a saber, and the others, with the effect of a billion-fold amplification, also rose up and aimed at the evil bandits. No, this kid is a cultivator. Li Taihang waved his hand, and the sabers flew up again, and then chopped the 7 people into meat paste. All of a sudden, all the evil bandits were killed by Li Taihang. Li Taihang also took back his copper coins, and the villagers were also confused by his operation. Li Taihang spread his hands and said, "If I don't do this, they will put the knife on your neck, and what should I do with it to threaten me?" Li Taihang could only lure them with benefits. As the saying goes, people die for money, and birds die for food. Li Taihang used a trick to deal with this group of evil bandits, and after making the villagers safe, he dared to take action against the remaining evil bandits with confidence. After all the bandits were killed, the village chief came out and said gratefully, "Thank you, Mr. Qian, for saving my life." "Thank you, Mr. Qian." Li Taihang saw that they really thought he had too much money, and was a little speechless. "Well, okay, let's not talk too much. If these bandits don't go back, I'm afraid that the Poison Dragon village will attack the village again. I want to ask, do you know the specific situation of the Poison Dragon village?"